Once you've configured your company and all of your personal information under the Options tab, the next thing to do is to set up your very first project. To create a project, click on the Browse option at the top. When you click on the Browse option at the top, you'll now see a sub-menu. Now go to File, and when you hover over File, the next option is New, in my case ABC Project, or in your case whatever your company name is. Click on this. So let's click on New Project. Now it'll bring up the information screens. So we can name the project if we'd like. I'm just going to call this one Sample Training Project. Now if I'd like, I can also put in some other information, like a project number. So if we have a project numbering system, I can put that in. If I want to, I can put in a description. This is a water treatment plant. I can put in a start date or an end date. I can put in some notes if I'd like. And we also have another tab called Filter Data, where you can also create custom fields and add other information as well if you want more information about that project. One of the most powerful features in our software product is the ability for you to create your own unique custom search fields. This gives you the flexibility to ensure that you get the information that you want on every project every time. So you can build whatever type of custom search criteria you want so that you can link back to schedules, CAD drawings, any other application that you work with. And by the way, once you've created a project or two, you can also clone the information from one to another so that you don't have to build this every time you create a project. Let's say, for example, on our job, we want two criteria that we want to be able to break down or search by. So let's click Add. And the first thing we're going to type in is going to be location. Now we want to add another search field, so I'm going to click on Add again. And I want to call this one Work Discipline. So I've got two custom search fields, location and work discipline. And you'll notice I can select them by just clicking on the box to the left. So I'm going to pick location, and now over here on the right, I'm going to add a new value. So we're going to have a location called Area 1. And I'm going to add another value. We're going to have Area 2. And then I'm going to add another location, Building 1. So as you can see, you can have as many values to each one. So I've put in my locations. Now I want to go to Work Discipline, and I'll start adding some values here. For example, drywall. Let's add another one called Site Work. Let's add another one called Electrical. And so forth. So you can build these lists. You can also add to these lists as you're working on projects. And again, you can have as many custom search fields as you want so that you can always get the information that you need. You can also decide whether this information is going to be mandatory or not. So if location is going to be mandatory, down below here you would check the box to require it. Same thing with work discipline. If I want it to be mandatory, I'll require it. So when you require a search field, it means just that. It's mandatory and that information has to be filled in. If you want to leave it optional, just uncheck it. Don't require it. In addition to that, you can have your field personnel help you by filling out information like work discipline. They could start filling in the other things, such as temporary fencing and trim work and so forth. So then you would want to leave these lists not restricted. However, on location, for example, let's say there are only these three locations, Area 1, 2, and Building 1. So if I don't want anyone adding to this list, I will restrict it. And that means they'll have to pick from one of these three options. And work discipline, I'm going to go ahead and leave unrestricted so that people can add to it. So when you create a project, you basically are just giving the project a name, and that may be all you want to do. That's all you need to do to set up a project. And if you feel like you need to break the project down further or add multiple locations or custom search fields, this is where you would do it here on your search field tab. Once you're done with everything and you've set up the project, just click OK. And that project will now show up on your list here. For those of you that are just starting, it'll be the only project that you see. And in our case, down below here, you can see that we now have a new project called Sample Training Project. So that's all you do to create your first project or to create any projects.